Welcome back, everybody. Tomorrow is the sentencing for Harvey Weinstein, the former Hollywood producer whom a jury found guilty of criminal sex act and third-degree rape. Tomorrow, Judge James Burke will officially impose the sentence, which could range from 5 to 29 years in prison. Here to discuss the situation leading up to tomorrow's sentencing is Harvey Weinstein's publicist and friend, Juda Engelmayer. Juda, it's great to have you back here on the program.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you very much.
I want to start right now. What is Mr. Weinstein's current state? I know he's in Rikers. How's he doing?
His current state is anxious, nervous, disappointed, little disillusioned, and also physically not feeling well. Over Saturday, he took a fall, hit his head.
How'd that happen?
Because if you saw him in court and he wasn't acting, he needs a walker. He's not given a walker now, he's given a wheelchair, which he has to wheel himself. He doesn't enjoy that, so he tries to walk himself or use the wheelchair as his walker. And it doesn't always work out the way he wants. He's not the most nimble person, and he took a fall.
And from when he was at Bellevue to Rikers, I mean, he was cleared from Bellevue.
So this goes on to be more of the fierce prosecution of Harvey Weinstein. He had angioplasty done on Wednesday night. I think it was Thursday night. Or when was he sent to Rikers? I think Friday morning. He had angioplasty, and 8 hours later he was sent to Rikers because of the public pressure on the prosecutor's office and on the Department of Corrections that Harvey was getting a sweet treatment at Bellevue. So as soon as they corrected the heart issue, or at least to the degree they thought they did, they shipped him right off. Not feeling great, still they took him in an ambulance, and he just had angioplasty. His heart's not been in the best shape, and they shipped him off to Rikers. That's just how they treat him.
Because I guess there were reports that he had his own lounging area. He was watching. Explain what really was what his life was like at Bellevue.
So what people don't understand about prison is that prisoners get common areas to walk around in. They get to walk outside once in a while. They get a TV room to walk into, and there should be other people there at the same time. Harvey was in a cell. I visited him at Bellevue. He was in a jail cell. It was a prison cell with a hospital bed. Nothing more. There were guards outside. It was an open toilet. It was a complete prison cell. Everything you expect of a prison cell. Someone snuck a picture of him watching television in an open area, and all of a sudden word got out. Oh, he's being lounging on a comfy leather couch all by himself. Part of the reason he's by himself is one of the issues with Harvey is they keeping him by himself because they don't want him interacting with other people. They're afraid for him. They don't want to have any issues of him encountering other people encountering him, or having any issues that Department of Corrections might have to answer for. So part of what they do is keep him by himself. So when you see him sitting in the common room watching television during the hour that he gets to do that, he was by himself.
You're saying there's a legitimate fear that someone would harm him, both in Rikers or where he is right now? I
don't know of any legitimate fear. The Department of Corrections is making sure that they don't have any issues like they have with other high-profile prisoners before.
Is there a concern, because it's becoming a high-profile defendant, given the situation, given sentencing tomorrow, are you concerned he would injure himself?
No, I'm not concerned he would injure himself. That's not the case. I think what the Department of Corrections is taking whatever precautions they need to make sure that A, he doesn't injure himself if he had that propensity, and B, no one else can injure him if they felt like it.
Now look, he's going into sentencing tomorrow. It could be the high end. It could be 25 years, 29 years. Is he mentally prepared for that kind of sentence?
He's been trying to get himself there, but it's been a very difficult path. He is not mentally prepared for it, but he understands what he's facing.
And we saw that his defense counsel filed this brief for 5 years, and they cited a number of different issues. Do you believe the judge is going to take that into account?
Given, by the way, Judge Burke has performed throughout the prosecution, I highly doubt he's going to look at any of that stuff, and whatever Joan Aluzzi says is pretty much what he wants to do.
Now, you say that because in the prosecution's letter, they cited a number of uncharged conduct and things that were not technically sexual in nature, him having a hostile work environment. You believe the judge is going to side with the prosecutor on that? I mean, what was your response to that letter?
Well, my response to that is, if you're going to judge everybody by a hostile work environment, I can go through places I've worked in the past. I can go through places of countless people who work with bosses who are not the nicest. Not criminal, just not the nicest people. You're going to make that a criminal act? Now you're going to put someone in prison for that? Harvey Weinstein has no priors. He's never been arrested or served jail time for anything else before, and he should be treated as a first-time offender. We believe that all that was written to say he's not really a first-time offender. He's been offending all his life.
Do you think that the judge has this pressure upon him to impose a stiff sentence in light of everything that was cited by the state?
I think 100% the judge has pressure on him. The judge had pressure on him to prosecute him from day one. And you saw that everything he did from the minute he opened the courts up by saying he's going to put him in jail for life for using his cell phone when that wasn't even the case.
What can we expect from the sentencing tomorrow from the defense team?
We're going to appeal to Harvey's charitable work, his philanthropy, his family, the fact that there are many people who say kind things about him. His best friend of 50 years, Bill Carrero, has been by his side and could talk about the good man that they know Harvey, that he knows Harvey to be. Also understands his bad sides, but not criminal sides. And I think we're going to appeal to humanity on that, saying treat him like anyone else who's a first-time offender.
So you're going to have maybe some people speak on his behalf, like Mr. Carrero?
I believe we can expect we could something like that, yes.
Will Mr. Weinstein say anything during the
I cannot answer that right now. I do not know.
Okay. And let me ask you this, we're wondering what the next step is. And has there been any consideration about what's happening in LA? Everybody's been saying, well, wait till the end of this trial, well, tomorrow's going to be the end of it.
Right.
And what, have you heard anything about LA?
So that's part of the consideration of if he speaks on his behalf at his sentencing, all that public, anything that he makes public can be used against him in LA, and he has to consider that too. So we don't know what he's going to say or how we can prepare him for that. And some are saying maybe just keep his mouth shut, and he would like to actually say something on his behalf. So we don't know how that's going to end up. But are we preparing for LA? We absolutely are. We know to expect something from them within days after sentencing, maybe hours, we don't know. But we don't think this is where it ends. We think that this is just where it begins for him. It's going to be a long, long road. No
matter what the sentence is tomorrow, what's the next step for an appeal?
An appellate court will not hear it until they hear what the sentence is for the most part. So, we could have filed it, but it would fall on deaf ears. So now we're going to, once the sentencing is complete and we have that number, we file with the appellate division and we go from there.
Look, I have to ask, there's a situation, we cover a number of different trials here on the network, and there are people who plead not guilty constantly. But when they are ultimately found guilty, they do take a moment and they do apologize, they do accept responsibility. Now, Mr. Weinstein has always said that he is innocent of what he's being charged with. But has there been a sense, since he was found guilty, that he does want to, offer his repentance in a way, or say he's sorry, or say I understand the verdict and I'm sorry if I hurt anybody? Have you heard anything about that?
Yes, 100%. He has become very humble, very self-reflective. He's been doing that over the past 2 years as well. But there's a difference. To say there's regret for a criminal act, we maintain there are no criminal acts. Does he regret treating people poorly? Does he regret putting his craft in front of the human beings in front of him and forcing people to work in hostile environments because he wanted to get what he wanted when he wanted it? Yes, he understands what kind of boss he was. He understands what kind of workplace what he fostered. He understands what kind of abuse he gave to people in the sense where he was belligerent and angry all the time and demanded things his way. Did he do any criminal acts? No. So when you ask for an apology on that, a regret on that, he doesn't have regret for a criminal act. He has plenty of regret for how he treated people. And if he could do it again, he would try to be the person that I see him over the past couple of days, visiting him in prison as well. He has been a nicer guy, more humble guy. And listen, the lawyers even said, Don and Damon, who met him for the first time less than a year ago, say they've only had good experience with him, and I've seen that as well. He has been a remarkably different person in that sense, where he has been more humble and self-reflective. But it's hard to say regret for a criminal act because you don't want to do that. He's facing an LA thing. There is no apology for a criminal act, but there's an apology for being the kind of person he was.
And depending on what the sentence is tomorrow, look, he's going to spend a significant portion of his life, if not the remainder of his life, in prison. Has he given any thought about what he would do on the day in, day out? Would he try to work on the appeal? Would he try to read books? Would he try to communicate or help out with there's prison classes, things like that? Any kind of understanding of what he would do?
You could rely on Harvey to be as personal as possible. First of all, he'll read books, which he does. He does that a lot. He's been reading 5 books a week now. Will he get involved? I'm sure he will mentor people. I'm sure he will watch. If prisoners want to show him their scripts and work on them for real or fantasy, whether or not they could do better, I'm sure he'll get involved in that because he likes doing that. He likes showing people how they could better themselves.
Judah, I appreciate you taking the time. I'm going to see you in court tomorrow for the sentencing, and we'll see which way it goes.
Thank you very much. Yes.
All right, everybody, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have more.